Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're jumping right into one of the absolute biggest questions in personal finance. How do you actually maximize your long-term wealth? If you've got some massive financial goals on the horizon, the strategies you pick today are going to dictate whether you just barely meet those goals or absolutely shatter them. We're going to break down the hard math, analyze the psychology to give you clear, actionable insights. Okay, let's dive right into this. For those big financial goals, what actually creates more wealth? Is it deploying a massive lump sum of cash all at once? Or is it the systematic, accelerating power of a step-up SIP? It's a classic dilemma, and the answer really lies right at the intersection of pure mathematics and human psychology. We're going to settle this debate once and for all today. Here's our roadmap for today's data-driven showdown. First, the wealth creation showdown. Second, simulating traditional investments. Third, enter the step-up SIP. Fourth, the mathematical insight. And finally, number 5, the ultimate winning strategy. Let's get to it. Section 1, the wealth creation showdown. So when we line up our two heavyweights, the lump sum has a massive undeniable advantage: immediate compounding. You're putting all your capital to work from day one, giving it the maximum possible time in the market. A step-up SIP, however, has this amazing superpower of increasing investment power over time. Plus, psychologically, it provides much easier discipline. You're starting smaller, so there's way less fear when the market gets volatile. It's the upfront power of a lump sum versus the growing momentum of the step-up SIP. Section 2, simulating traditional investments. All right, let's run the numbers. We're doing a 20-year mathematical simulation at a very realistic 12% compound annual growth rate. Scenario 1 represents a massive upfront capital deployment. We're talking about a one-time investment of 10 lakh rupees. We drop it in, leave it entirely untouched for 20 straight years. What happens? Just watch how this initial block of money snowballs over time. At year 5, your 10 lakhs have grown to 17.6 lakhs. By year 10, you're at 31 lakhs. Year 15, over 54.7 lakhs. And at the end of our 20-year timeline, boom, an incredible 96.4 lakhs. You literally turned a 10 lakh initial investment into almost 1 crore rupees simply because the entire sum was compounding from day one. But let's look at our second contender. Scenario 2 is the highly popular traditional regular SIP. Now, you aren't starting with a huge pile of cash here. Instead, you're systematically investing exactly 10,000 rupees every single month, like clockwork, for 20 years at that exact same 12% CAGR. Fast forward to the 20-year mark, and look at this. Your consistent 10,000 rupees a month yields a portfolio value of 99 lakh rupees. Honestly, that is astonishing. It's surprisingly neck and neck with a lump sum outcome of 96.4 lakhs. What this tells us is that long-term consistency is just incredibly powerful. Even if you don't start with 10 lakhs upfront, 20 years of robotic discipline gets you to the exact same destination, right around that 1 crore mark. Section 3, enter the step-up SIP. All right, here we go. This is scenario 3, and I'm telling you, it is a total game changer. We start with that exact same modest SIP of 10,000 rupees a month, but here is the unique mechanic. We systematically increase that contribution by 10% every single year. So year 1 is 10,000 a month, year 2 is 11,000 a month, and so on. We are basically tying our investment growth to our expected income growth over that 20-year period. And here is the massive twist. Year 5 is 10 lakhs. Year 10 is 31 lakhs. Year 15 is 78 lakhs. But check out year 20. No way, right? The portfolio utterly shatters the 1 crore ceiling, hitting anywhere from 1.75 to 2 crores. Why does it get so incredibly big? Because you've got 2 engines running simultaneously. Not only is the compounding growing, but your baseline contribution is growing too. The curve just accelerates so aggressively in those later years. Section 4, the mathematical insight. And this brilliantly illustrates the whole showdown. Putting them head-to-head really highlights the dominance of the step-up SIP. The 10 lakh lump sum finishes at 96 lakhs, and the 10K regular SIP finishes at 99 lakhs. But that step-up SIP, it rockets to nearly 1.9 crores. Mathematically, the lump sum wins early on because the entire pile of money is compounding immediately. But the step-up SIP absolutely dominates the long game because your income growth keeps adding fresh fuel to the compounding. You're essentially turning your salary growth itself into your primary investment engine. The sources provide this brilliant, simple analogy that perfectly anchors all this complex simulation data. Think of it like this. A lump sum is like starting a fire with a massive piece of big wood. It burns really well and lasts a long time. But a step-up SIP, that is like continuously throwing more and more fuel under the fire. By the time you hit year 15 or 20, that fire is a blazing inferno. Increasing your contributions dramatically changes your long-term outcomes because you are systematically feeding the compounding beast. Section 5, the ultimate winning strategy. So what's the actual best move here? Well, it's highly practical. For many investors, the most powerful strategy is the ideal combination. You just combine both advantages. If you have the capital, you invest a lump sum today, say 5 lakh rupees. But you definitely don't stop there. You plus that with a 10,000 rupees step-up SIP. This combo perfectly marries the explosive, immediate early start of a lump sum with the aggressive, accelerating future investments of the step-up strategy. You get a steep starting curve and an exponential finish. But listen, to actually pull this off, you've got to navigate the psychological traps. The sources outline a few common mistakes you absolutely must avoid to keep this 20-year plan intact. First, waiting forever for a perfect market entry. Just remember, time in the market always beats timing the market. Second, never increasing your SIP. As your salary grows, your investments have to grow too, or you're literally leaving millions on the table. Third, stopping your SIP during market crashes. This is crazy. It's when units are the cheapest. And finally, investing emotionally during bull markets. Just stick to the mathematical discipline. Ultimately, your wealth compounds the absolute fastest when your money starts early and your contributions keep increasing. Long-term wealth is built through both time in the market and increasing your investment power. So ask yourself today, is your salary growth actively fueling your wealth engine, or is it just fueling your lifestyle? And as we wrap up today, please note, this conversation is for educational purposes only. Mutual fund investments are subject to market risks. Please consult a qualified professional before investing. Thanks for joining this explainer, and keep building that wealth.